A long time ago, when I was young, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, I had a male buddy I used to hang out with all the time, and nice dude. It was nobody I had any interest in, like romantically, but he was cool to hang out with. Well, one weekend we'd gone out, and man, we just drank like maniacs. So we came back to my house. He lived like way out in the boonies, so my daughter wasn't home. Babysat, and I just let him sleep in her room. So I'm not sure what happened. I never did really get the details, but the next day after he left, my phone rings, and there's this girl on the phone, and she's like, let's just say his name is Mike. She says, "Oh, who is this? Bitch, that is me." I said, "You called my house. Who the fuck are you?" So then she says, "Well, I'm Mike's wife." And I started laughing. I said, "Girl, shut up. You know that boy ain't married. Now what's the real deal? What's the problem here? Why are you calling me?" "Well, he didn't come home last night." I said, "Well, why is that my problem?" You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not gonna babysit grown ass men. What you talking about? "Well, I know that he was with you." I said, "Okay, and she's like, "Well, what is the nature of your relationship?" I said, "Let me stop you right there. What you need to do is hang up this phone, and if that really is your nigga, that's who you need to direct all these questions to." And I hung up the phone. And that was the first real involvement that I had with dumb bitch shit, which is what I have subsequently named it, who want to blame their man wandering on the other woman. Now, in this case, I wasn't the other woman because, that boy never even kissed me. We never even held hands, except maybe if we were drunk trying to stumble back to the car and, hold each other up or something. But I mean, it wasn't like, no, "Oh, I must hold your hand because I love you so much." It wasn't like that. So trust me. So I'm like, what is the real deal? So that's what we're going to talk about today is men and their cheating and how you guys respond to it and the hoops that you jump through about niggas shit and where they put their dick. That's what we're going to talk about. Now this all became, this became a real big deal in the black community. I mean, very spoken about a lot back in the 90s when Michael Bazin hit the scene with his first book, How and Why Men Cheat. As a matter of fact, that book took him from being a bus driver to, national television and radio. It became his platform upon which, he built a whole empire. So I got to say, Brother Man was smart. He went with a hot button that was, really big for black women. And he was able to garner a lot of attention and make a lot of money real quick on women's angst about how they could influence their men to not cheat. The problem with that, though, is in survey after survey, I mean, surveys done by, renowned researchers, universities, social media, I mean, everything. You combine all those together, American people are consistently, stated to be rather the most conservative people in the world when it comes to attitude toward cheating. Everybody's all religious. "Oh my God, Jesus God. Oh, my religion says this and that, blah blah blah. Marriage is forever, blah blah blah." They say that, but according to statistics, up to, because we're gonna say up to 85%, because it depends which one of those 5 million studies you read. Up to 85% of Americans believe that extramarital sex is, quote, always wrong. Always, okay? Yet, the number of American men involved in extramarital affairs range again from 22 to 75%, and for women from 14 to 60%. Again, depending upon which study you want to quote. So I'm giving you all of them in one, presentation. So then you have to add that to the statistic that says, up to 75% of men and up to 68% of women said that they would have an affair if they knew that they would not get caught. So you can see how prevalent cheating really is. So does it make sense for you to get married or involve yourself in a long-term relationship with the expectation that your man or even yourself will never wander outside of that relationship? That is a question that you guys need to ask yourselves. I'm not going to answer that for you. My job here is to just merely present issues and alternative viewpoints and explain things to you. Now, how you kind of massage that information around, that's on you. But let's move forward. So, when a man is cheating, what is it that he is really communicating to you? Well, from my viewpoint, he's like, his lips might be saying, baby, I love you, but his actions are saying, I don't really give a shit about hurting you because I'm all about what I want. And his mouth might say, you the love of my life, I swear before God and all these witnesses, blah, 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 that stuff that's in marriage vows, right? But really, the love of my life is my dick. And his mouth might say, I love you with all my heart, you're the only one for me, blah, 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 blah. But what he really loves is whoever standing in front of him offered him some pussy. So, you got to look at, because this is something I keep telling, this has been a theme throughout all of these videos. This is number 23. And, consistently I've been telling you, you have to listen to what a man says and then watch what he does. The two things need to match up. If there's no consistency there's something out of sync, then you have a problem. And this is one of the issues where women have major problems. Now, why are women so terrified of cheating? Statistically, women are more afraid of the man losing his emotional connection. So they're more afraid of the man falling in love with some other woman and abandoning them than they are really of the sex. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why women can be, more forgiving about their man wandering. Mostly, not always. But, we're talking generalities here. We can't go on everybody. So don't even waste your time coming up here saying, well, that wouldn't be me. I don't care. I'm talking generalities here. Statistically, this is what happens. Women will try to, quote, work it out. They tell, will set up counseling. They want to, do therapy. They want to try to save the marriage. Men, however, are more apt to leave the relationship because the woman had sex with someone else. This is in line with their belief that, once they tap that ass, that they belong, it belongs to them, it's theirs. So when you show them that it's not, they have a problem and they don't really want to be in the relationship anymore. So what happens though when you get in a situation where you know that your man is cheating? Inevitably, they will try to justify their behavior. Because most of the guys, when they cheat, they don't really want to lose you. That's not part of, that really wasn't part of the deal. They want to keep you, but they also want to have this other situation going on as well. As they say, they want to have their cake and eat it too. So, they're not really thinking that you're going to leave. But what they will do is try to make sure that you don't by playing these mind games. And this is when all the jumping through the hoops starts, because you guys listen to the bullshit they be talking. So what they try to do is avoid accepting any kind of responsibility for what they did. They don't want to accept that that they were a jerk, or that they were, displaying rather these narcissistic kind of sadistic behaviors that hurt you. So what they want to do is flip the script. So they make you think that you did something wrong and that the problem is you instead of him. See, and so most of you guys will start the hoop jumping at this point because you believe what he says and you want to keep the relationship, so you accept blame and responsibility. Even if you don't want to accept it, people will still try to put it on you, because then they start hitting you with that shit about, well, you what did you do wrong? You don't know how to keep your man at home. You didn't do something to satisfy your man. That's your responsibility to keep your man happy, blah, blah, blah. So they like beating you over the head with, the fact that he took himself out of the situation after making a commitment to you. And usually, in wedding situation, is in front of a whole bunch of other people too. He swore all up and down he was gonna be with you and it's forever, and then this happened. Now, why is that your fault? See, I've never in my life understood that way of thinking, but that's what folks do. So what they're doing though, see, they want to attempt to distract you. See, so to get the heat off of their ass about what they did and why they did it, and how they were wrong and how they fucked up the whole relationship, fucked up the whole marriage, fucked up over the kids, fucked over you. They don't really want to talk about all that because then they'll be expected to do something about it. So what they do instead is lash out. Then they start using these manipulative words to blame you for their behavior, and in this, basically what it is an emotionally abusive relationship. And so instead of talking about how he hurt you, he wants to shift attention to you and what you quote did wrong. So you sitting there feeling all this anxiety, all this pain, all this confusion, this deep, just like heart-wrenching kind of hurt and mental anguish because the love that you thought you had turned out to be just a fantasy, and the dreams that you had when you got with this man of happily ever after just blew up in your face up in smoke. So you're devastated, and instead of really focusing on how he hurt you and what he's going to do to fix it, all he does is hurt you more. This is the typical behavior pattern. Of course, there are exceptions, but we're talking about the majority and how the majority respond in the black community. The woman is always, always blamed. So how do you handle that? He starts blaming you. You find out your man cheated. What you do? Most of you will get mad at the other woman. Now, there's some who don't. I have to keep saying it before people just fly up and start, posting all kind of stupid shit. We already know that some women will leave, okay? That's a given. We're talking about the ones who don't and allow themselves to be to be jumping through hoops to keep these men. So you guys, who are afraid of losing the man, you will flip your anger and rage around, and you want to, blame it on the other woman. So here you go with your terminology. You want to go fight her. She every kind of bitch. She every kind of home-wrecking skank skeezer. You blame her for going after your man and all this old stuff. You blame her for everything, and you totally ignore the fact that the person you have vows with, the person that you made a commitment to, is that motherfucker that you married or that you moved in with or that's your baby, whatever the situation is. You allowed the brainwashing of black culture to manipulate your mind and get the focus of the person who's really responsible for hurting you off of him and onto some other third party. Now, I'll go into that a little bit more later because, you don't really know what the situation is there. So we're going to table that for a minute. And we're still talking about you right now. Some of you will know that your man is cheating, right? And you be asking him, you get, well, where, what's going on? I think you got another woman. Of course he's going to deny it. He's going to deny it. And what you do, though, is you want to go crazy. You start looking for proof that he's lying. You're going to start going through his phone, checking his emails, checking his underwear, going through his apartment, just looking for evidence. Everywhere you go, you're looking for evidence. His car, you just become like some kind of FBI agent or something. That's how deep you be going with it. My thing is that every woman knows when her man is lying. When we are in love with a man, we are so tuned into him emotionally that we can tell what he's thinking by the way he breathes. And guys don't get that because they're not like that. They don't understand that innate sense that women have about the people they care about. That's how we are able to determine with little babies who can't even speak what's wrong with them. Women tune in to those that they love and care about. It's like a spiritual thing. Men don't get that, so they're thinking that they can get away with all these lies, and women know that you lied. We already know that you're cheating. Now, if she may choose not to do anything about it, there's always, that. Some women are afraid. They don't know what to do, so they opt not to do anything and just ignore it. But that does not mean that she doesn't know, excuse me, that you were cheating. Okay? Two different things here. Another issue that women do. Okay, so you go around and you do all the snooping, right? Because it's just important to you that you want to verify that he's cheating. So when you come with him with the proof, you get confused and you allow him to fast talk you and deflect from talking about his cheating to talking about you snooping. This is another tactic that they use. So now he wants to run around and say how, what was you doing snooping and how he can't trust you and blah, 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 blah. So you get on the defensive. You're sitting there telling him that you have proof, waiting for him to own up to it, to apologize, and, for you guys to figure out what you can do to move the relationship forward. He doesn't, no, that's not going to happen. What he's going to do is just continue to flip it around to make it your fault that you found out that he was cheating because you were snooping, and you shouldn't have been snooping, because if you snoop and then you find something, well, you going to find what you're looking for. What kind of double talk bullshit ass nigga shit is that? I swear. But I've heard guys say this kind of stuff, to their girlfriends or the women come and report it to me, and I just laugh. And I have brothers, so they wasn't always married and the angels that they are now. Trust me, I saw some shit. So, this is how they do it. This is the mind game they playing before they know it. Instead of you being in his ass for cheating and breaking your heart, you sitting there apologizing and promising not to snoop anymore. And he got you right where he wants you, over a barrel. So really, he's the one who was dishonest. He was the one who was unfaithful. He was the one who lied, and it's like you can't be a cheater without lying, because either he's lying to you or he's lying to the other woman, and sometimes, well, usually it's both. So this lying and cheating exist side by side. They're like best buddies. You can't really do one without the other. And it's all about, manipulation and getting the upper hand and controlling your reality. Because if you had all the facts about what kind of relationship you were really in, you would then be able to make an informed decision about whether you wanted to stay in it. And like I'm telling you, they don't want you to have that information. They want to have you there doing everything that you were doing, life at home, just as comfortable and easy as it always was. And they want to go over here and have all this fuck around fun with all these other, these other broads. So what can you do if you commit him, you comment on, him making these cheating moves and breaking your heart and messing up the relationship? Some of them will try to say, well, you're crazy. That's not what's happening. You're misreading things. You're just imagining that. So that's called gaslighting. So they're trying to get you to question your own abilities to understand what's going on in your world. They just try to get you to ignore it and to doubt yourself instead of, again, staying focused on his bullshit. So what can you do to determine if your relationship is emotionally abusive? There are certain behavior patterns that will be displayed. Let's use that word. That will be displayed when a guy's cheating and when he is running game to try to, make sure that he maintains the upper hand and keeps the relationships, both relationships that he wants to have, or all three, or however many it is. He wants to keep everything, so he's getting what he wants from all these women, and while he's giving them peanuts and lies back. Or should I say penis and lies, because that's pretty much all everybody's getting. So what do they do? You will notice that he's going to become angry for no reason. He starts flashing about stuff, right? That's his guilt. But he was, has you walking around on eggshells. He uses this anger to jet out the door, right? Because he mad, so he's going for a walk. He's going to hang out with his buddies. He's going for a drink. What that really is that's just his out to get away from you to go see this other bitch. That's what that is. But, it's set up that way, and you don't really know that at first. So you really think that he's upset about something. All right? They lie, like I said, to manipulate your reality. They which denies your ability to make fully informed decisions about which direction you want to take your life. So they're removing your control over your own destiny and, putting it in their hands with these lies. They may be intimidating. They'll make threats. about leaving you, or it might even be a physical assault kind of threat. Um, Taking away money. I mean, there's all kind of threats they use to intimidate you into silence. They'll shout and scare you. They may call you names and hurt your feelings there. He'll start pouting when he doesn't get his way. Again, another tool to get out the door. Sulking around, making you wonder what you did wrong. See, all this is part of the setup for you to accept the blame when he finally does cheat, or the cheating is revealed. So keep that in mind. This stuff I'm leading up to, I'm telling you right now, these are the setup traps that will get you in the ultimate position of where he hopes you to be, accepting his bullshit. Okay, so I like sulking. Okay, he'll ignore you or neglect you. Have you begging for his time and attention. He'll play the victim role. When you finally expose him, that's you didn't this and you didn't that, and she just came on to me so much. She was just like da, 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 da. So they put all the blame on her instead of being the man. But we'll go into that a little bit more too. They try to make you feel guilty or ashamed, as I just said, for finding out that he cheated and digging in his ass. Instead he gonna make you feel guilty for snooping, or ashamed of having these suspicions. He may even be degrade you, talk about you physically, talk about you sexually, in all an attempt to justify his behavior. You will notice that his actions will never match their words. He says, I'll do this, I'll do that, but then he doesn't do it, and he disappears. You don't even know where he is. And the number one is that they never take any ownership or responsibility for their actions. It's always somebody else's fault. So what do you do about that? When they come and you telling him, oh, this and that is happening, I suspect that you're cheating, and you accept the blame. How does that happen? It starts because, like I said, that's the setup stuff I just gave you. Okay, that's the part to get you to feel emotionally vulnerable. Then they start hitting you with the real manipulation tools, where you accept blame for his behavior and you try to change. This is like the ultimate mind fuck. He's the one fucking up, but he tells you it's your fault that he fucked up, and you need to change this and that and blah, 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 so he won't fuck up again or anymore. Okay, and you guys, in your desperate attempt to save the relationship, you listen. And these are the things that they will attack you with. And keep in mind, this is like not a comprehensive list. This is just some shit off the top of my head, as I was thinking about this subject over the last day or so. The first one of the things they like to say, well, I had to cheat because, you too needy. I need a woman who, is more independent. You're too dependent on me. Okay, that's one. They'll say you too much in his business. He can't breathe. You too controlling. You too independent. Okay, so, depending on the men, you're going to be hit with you too dependent or you too independent, and he doesn't feel needed. You too sensitive. He just need to be around somebody who wouldn't be crying and getting upset all the damn time. You too naive to know what you need to do to keep your man happy at home. So that's your fault. You too jealous. You too possessive. Although he's giving you plenty of stuff to be jealous and possessive about, he's not going to talk about that part. You too focus on your work or the kids and not on him. You don't pay him enough attention like you used to. You too tired to give him the sex and the attention that he needs. You not freaky enough. You too religious. You too incompatible in any way that he comes up with. Because, that there is like, just a blank. Incompatible with this, that, blah, blah, blah. Or you're emasculating. You don't know how to let a man be a man. So he need to go cheat with this other woman so he can feel like a man. Or you too, you don't submit enough, and you too challenging, you're too mouthy. So bottom line is you're too fill in the blank. That's what it, just fill in the blank with whatever fantasy bullshit comes into his stupid ass mind. That's what he's going to throw at you in an attempt to make his cheating your fault and make you feel guilty and make you jump through hoops changing yourself, or in ignoring the fact what he just did hurt you immensely in order to maintain the relationship. That's the game. Now, sometimes you can tell, when you first get with a dude, if he is likely to cheat. there's a few signs, a few kind of attitudes and behaviors that pretty much guarantee that cheating is on the horizon of your relationship. It's just a matter of time. Number one, he has a history of cheating on women before you. Most of us tend to run in the same social circles. People know other folks that know other folks, how that is. So you can get the lowdown on most of the dudes that you come into contact with and you're going to know somebody who knows him or somebody who knows somebody he dated. And you can get the scoop on his ass that way. If he has a history of cheating, he cheated on his ex-wife, his ex-girlfriends, whatever, then you already know you can expect pretty much the same. If you have low self-esteem or exhibit any kind of desperation for a man, or you have no boundaries and no real standards for behavior, you pretty much accept anything he gives you and just feel happy, then he knows that you're weak. He knows that he can cheat, and he knows that you won't go anywhere and you won't do anything but cry about it. You might bitch and moan and throw a few things, but your ass ain't going nowhere, and he knows that. So he's going to do whatever he wants to do and know that you're going to still be there when he gets back to the crib. If he grew up in a household where one or both of his parents cheated, so to him that's like a normalized behavior pattern within an allegedly committed relationship, especially if the parents stayed together after the cheating was exposed, then you can pretty much bet that he's going to do the same thing. There's a lot of situations where the men cheated and had a baby outside the relationship, and they had the gall to bring the baby to the house so the wife raised him up with the rest of his kids because he don't want to pay child support. And a lot of older women, they're like in their 70s and 80s now, but they had to deal with that shit in the 60s and 70s. If your man has buddies who cheat on their women, that is a big red flag, because those types will cover for each other. Now, notice I said buddies. I did not say best friends, because he's not going to have his best friends involved in that, because the best friends are around too much, and the best friends are likely to really know the truth and expose stuff to him, expose stuff to you rather, either intentionally or accidentally, because you have too much access to them. So he'll have like buddies, people that you may have met once or twice, whose name comes up a lot, who he runs, to have drink or plays basketball with at the gym or something like that. But they're not real friends. But that they cheat on their women, you can bet he's doing the same shit. And if he has a pattern of, if he has established a pattern of gaslighting you and attempting to discredit your thoughts, your feelings, or the observations that you have about things and other people and his behavior, he's basically prepping you for the cheating, getting your mind ready for it. Now I want to talk about, like on my intro story, what responsibility does the other woman have to your relationship? Your man is cheating with some other woman. A lot of you feel like if she would close her legs and all single women would close their legs, then no married men could cheat. You feel like if she cheats with your man, that, it's her fault and not his fault, because she shouldn't have cheated. She's a skanky hoe. She's a home wrecker. She's all this stuff. Jezebel, all these names you all want to come up with. And this one lady, I'm going to read you the quote. She, what she had to say about this topic. She said, "I will never feel guilty doing what I'm doing, because it takes two to tango. I don't set out to ruin anybody's relationship. I feel bad for their wives and girlfriends that their man is doing this, but hey, if he wasn't doing it with me, he'll be off doing it with somebody else, because the man that they have is a lying cheat. Why should I be vilified for dating a man who is married or in some kind of relationship situation? I'm single and free. He's the one cheating behind his woman's back, not me." And she's right. You know what I mean? I'm in full agreement. So, the question comes again is, what responsibilities does another woman have to you and your relationship? Deborah says none. Zero, zip, nada. Yeah, there's women out there that'll try to seduce, married or committed men, with a girlfriend or whatever, knowing full well that he has a woman or family, a wife, whatever. But the responsibility for saying no is on your man's shoulders, your husband, your boyfriend, your live-in, whatever. Okay, just like he would say no if he was offered drugs, just like he would say no if somebody asked him to participate in a bank robbery, just like his ass would say no to his friends who wanted him to participate in a gang rape. If behavior is viewed as wrong and it's hurtful or illegal or somebody's going to be damaged by it, a man of morals and values would say no. Okay, now the fact that your man didn't say no is telling, because they can't say it was a mistake. It's not a mistake. A mistake is you drop something and break it, you trip and fall. Ain't nobody accidentally pulling their dick out and falling into nobody's pussy. That's not an accident. You decided to do that, so shut up and own up to it like a fucking man. Now, you ladies who want to blame the other woman, I want you to pause for a minute, because you have no clue what he has said to this other woman. You don't know what lies he's been telling her. You don't know what went down before they got together. You don't know what charade he has been operating under to get her, all in the mix. Let me tell you another story. So I got all, that's what happens when you date a lot. I went out to D.C. to visit my brother. This was years ago. And I met, we went out to this event that was at Grand Central Station. What was it? Bev Smith's restaurant. They had this nice jazz show and all that stuff. We had a good time. And I met this dude there, right? So the next day, he called and he's like, oh, I want to, take you out. I'm like, okay. So I'm in D.C., right? So he lives in Baltimore. So he drove all the way to D.C. to get me. Drove all the way back to Baltimore, which I thought was kind of crazy, but he wanted to go to this special place where they had like multiple music venues and stuff. It had just opened up maybe a year or so before, and it was kind of cool. You go from room to room. You could hear hip hop, you could hear jazz, you could hear rock or whatever. I mean, it was kind of interesting. It was a different concept. So then after that, he's like, oh, I'm going to take you to my house. I'm like, thinking, don't think I won't stab you, because I had a knife from my brother's kitchen. So, he takes me to this house. Now, since I'm a very observant person, I walked into this apartment and I immediately knew what this was. This was one of them, because first of all, when we got in there was something awkward. I can't remember what it was, something that if he really lived there, he should have known. I can't remember what it is right now. That was so long ago. But I remember it, catching my attention that he didn't know this and you allegedly live here. Then I'm looking around like there's no personal pictures anywhere. No pictures of his mama, no pictures of his kids that he claimed he had. Just like, pictures like you buy like at a flea market or something. It was very nicely decorated and everything, but it's very sterile. And I'm looking around. I said, you don't really live here, do you? And he just looked really like stunned that, I hadn't been in the door 60 seconds and I already peeked that game. I said, this is one of them kind of apartments that you share with your buddies, and y'all could bring women here to fuck them, don't you? And he's like, I'm like, well, that ain't gonna happen, so we may as well go. So you can take me back to my brother's house. And I'm in my purse like saying, please don't try to act stupid, because I will cut your ass open and leave you bleeding on this carpet and take your car back to D.C. So he's, I guess he could look at the look of my face. Plus, I already busted his ass out. Plus, he wasn't cute anyway. So then we get in the car, we go back to D.C. Then he had to drive all the way back to Baltimore. So, in a situation like that, a woman who wasn't really up on those kind of games might get caught up, because she would feel like, oh, he really brought me to his house. He's single. And it's the kind of thing, we don't know what the schedule is with his friends. He could do something he could do, every week. I'm sure they had a rotating schedule. And, so the woman could, go there often and really truly believe that this man was single and this is really where he lived. So, he didn't have any ring on. And there was nothing about his presentation that even alluded to, him being married. But that was something I picked up on, and, that was that. He was able to, try to run that game, but he got busted. So that was, that was a very short-lived situation. So bottom line there is, whether the other woman, gives a shit about your feelings as his wife or girlfriend, that's irrelevant to me. It's not her job to police what your man does. That's his job. This is what we call cognitive dissonance, because you ladies want to put these men in a position of leadership and to telling you what to do, and you want to submit to him, and he's your king, and you want to have all these kind of thoughts and behaviors that glorify this guy as being someone of such high caliber that you can follow him to the depths of hell and be sure that you're going to come back out in one piece. That's the attitude that you have. But on this one, Dick, you expect other women who you don't even fucking know, they're not related to you, to help you keep your nigga under control. This is the same nigga who's supposed to be such a king and a leader, but he needs babysitting by complete strangers. See, there's something wrong with the mindset here. Something's happening. I'm not sure where you guys are getting off with this thinking, but you can't have both. Either he's a leader or he's an idiot. And if he's, a leader sets by example. He leads by example. His shit is together by example. You got somebody who you running around behind trying to make sure that he does what he's supposed to do, and try to convince other women to help make him do it. See, you got a bullshit ass nigga. That's what you got. And you don't want to accept it. You want to try to blame her for your man being a bullshit ass nigga. And I'm not going to help you do that. Yes, I know there's women out there who only want to date men who are committed or married and all that. But you know what? The fact that your man got his ass into bed with them, that's very telling. Because she can't be successful in her quest to date married or committed men if they keep their dicks in their pants and keep their dicks at home with their women where it belongs. That's his job. Okay? His job. That's it. So now what do you do in a situation like this? Your man is cheated. You're hurt. You're crying and you don't know what to do. Oh my God, it's so awful. You're looking at your little dreams, your little happily ever after done just blew up in your face. Some of you end up with diseases too, we're not even going to talk about that part. That could be a whole nother video. But, you're getting constantly yeast infections. You've done turned up with all this other activity and stuff. And, but you deal with that on your own. That's not my business. So what do you do in a situation like this? Number one, you have to realize that you are in control of yourself and your emotions. I keep telling you that. I keep saying that in every video in this series. Yes, you're going to be disappointed. Yes, you're going to be hurt. But that's no reason to go off the deep end, calling up the other woman, crying, begging him not to do it again, all that old shit that you all like to do. You have to maintain your dignity and your composure. Okay? Even if you do the breakdown somewhere else, you don't do that shit in front of him. Don't you dare. Give him the pleasure of seeing that he has hurt you on that level. You go away, do all what you're going to do, get your shit together, and come back with a fucking plan to cut his head off. And I don't necessarily mean physically. I mean whatever tools you have, a way to do it. Because nobody should be able to treat another person like that and get away with it. That's my motto. I will hunt your ass to the end of the fucking earth. There's no place in this world that you could go that I will not find you and make sure that you pay. That's me. Because I'm very vengeful like that. I admit it. Okay? But not everybody is like me. So, you do what feels comfortable for you. But I would like you to maintain your dignity. Do not ever grovel. Do not ever beg. And don't ever plead with some cheating, lying motherfucker to stay with you. Because all you're going to be doing is getting more of the same. However, okay, that I just told you point one. Point two is some women do decide to stay. There are a lot of reasons for that. Could be economic, could be, physical, like their health. They can't really handle whatever on their own. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. So you just have to accept the fact then that you have community dick. Okay, that's what you're married to. That's what you're living with. That's your honey, whatever. You got community dick in your house. What you also have is a man who disrespects you. You have a man who lacks integrity. You have a man who's a control freak. You have a man who's a selfish asshole. You have a man who seeks what he wants without any regard to the pain that he causes to the person he claims to love. That's you. You have a man who seeks power over you at any cost. Okay, that's what you have. So with all this discussion, if you find out that your man is cheating, you have pretty much two choices. You can either jump through the hoops he's holding up and accept it and stay in the relationship, or you can leave him. Those are the only two choices, and only you can make that choice. My name is Deborah Cooper. I am the advice columnist and dating expert on survivingdating.com and askheartbeat.com. I have a lot of more articles there you can read. We've got another video coming up in this series in a day or so. And then we'll be concluding this by the end of this week. We'll be concluding this series, the manipulative shit that black men say to make black women jump through hoops. It's coming to an end. I'll be starting up another series in September. But I do want to thank you guys for listening. I hope that you've enjoyed the information that I've shared with you. And I'll check back with you in another day or so. Bye-bye.